Hello everyone, welcome. This is Heart of the Moon. This is another video in the recap series. Next, zeroing in on the sky. Capricorn epitomizes the spirit of the goat. What's the nature of a goat? The goat has mastered scaling the mountains. Anything else? Then we invite everyone to ask the same question to yourselves, especially Capricorn sun and moon signs. Your sun sign is where the sun was at the time of your birth. That's the sign we associate with the most. But there's one we tend to forget, which is, we believe, just as important. If you don't know your moon sign, it's the sign the moon was in when you were born. If your sun sign had a mirror, what would it reflect? The same if your moon sign had a mirror. It's believed the moon sign reflects your most personal characteristics. Generally speaking, unlike your sun sign traits, things about you that you may initially hide from the public view, or things that you personally love doing no matter what. For example, in a hypothetical birth chart, the sun is in Libra at the same time the moon is in Capricorn. If you're a Libra sun, wondered why you had traits like a goat? That's probably why. Is this true? Really, only you'll know. Nonetheless, theory says we can at least anticipate or predict this to be true. But would it reveal anything else? Hold that thought for a moment. In other words, just interpose. Match the goat's nature with yours, with ours, because it's believed everyone has inherited at least a portion of each sign. It follows. It makes spiritual sense to associate mountains with everyday world energies that people pursue, engage, interact with. Such as they could symbolize the principalities of society like authorities, empires of the past because they reached pinnacles. Along with the moon, if Pluto had a mirror, what would it reflect? As far as we know, the spirit of Pluto, in short, wipes the slate clean, inside and out. His counterpart is the moon, because they basically have the same type of purpose. The moon takes a more nurturing approach to wiping the slate clean. One reason could be the moon visits each sign 12 times a year. She has the luxury of taking her time. Pluto, on the other hand, spends at least 13 years in each sign, sometimes more because of Pluto's strange orbit. Since it'll take him about 250 years to revisit each sign, he doesn't have the luxury of time. Consequently, as far as we can tell, he takes the no prisoners approach to wiping the slate clean. What could Pluto in Capricorn mean? If you guessed, wiping the slate clean of principalities, systems that are heights of power, like authorities. Then, maybe you also predicted new systems of government could be created. If the moon and Pluto are soulmates, parts of our society has observed during the full moon, people's shadow sides come out. Put another way, maybe their moon sign personalities also project out. While some believe, such as Heart of the Moon, something similar. The moon's mirror reveals, exposes our lower energies in order to close the chapter on them. As a result, she can help heal us. Previously, we posed some myths reflect light. The werewolf of folklore, for example, issues forth in the light of the full moon. Then we can make a match Quote, werewolves reveal our fear of what lurks inside, the beast hidden in all of us. Unquote. One more. Quote, we're werewolves. We don't get to judge crazy. Unquote. Then who does? Something that's out in the open, though. The curse of the werewolf could be a fragmented mind. Which way is which? But we can associate the discussion with one of the signs. The heart of the matter in the Scorpion season, Antares, the heart of the Scorpion. Anti-Mars is in continuous struggle with Mars, one of Scorpio's rulers. The least we can say, hesitation or error. Mars is definitely about moving forward, but not necessarily about hostility. According to the manual in Miracles on page 66, passage 2, verse 7, quote, his, source, world is now a battleground where contradiction reigns and opposites make endless war, unquote. However, believe it or not, there's high anticipation for a paradoxical universe or nature, maybe because of free will, like something out of the diary of the werewolf. Consider the workbook in Miracles, page 87, passage 4. In essence, I'm lost for good, unless something higher, meaningfulness in my mind. So why should I suffer from my insane thoughts when I can dwell in flawless creation? If only I can recall, decision, realize where I belong. Is it possible to remove the curse of the werewolf? On that note, let's see what could happen if we stand exposed in Pluto's mirror. Like an inspector, he's searching for the truth. There's orbits in our line of sight. An example of wiping the slate clean by taking Pluto's approach was when he just stepped inside Capricorn around April 2008. Then, in May the same year, Pluto was retrograde. Recall the sequence of events of the moon and Pluto's mirror, exposure, and then closing the chapter on things. For her, during the new moon, for him, during retrograde. While in Capricorn, direct, Pluto's mirror could reveal things such as artificial spikes, which makes it highly likely for these bubbles to fall during retrograde. And that's what happened. Check out the 2008 market crash. Was that by free will, or rules of the game, or was something else at play? The constellations are also rich with energy. Welcome to the observation tower, ladies and gentlemen. A decan, or we often refer to it as a decante, coincides with about 10 days worth of the sky. It's also matched with a constellation, so the entire season of one zodiac sign is divided into 3 decans. Heart of the Moon believes the universe follows energy laws, otherwise they would be employing magic. Does that make sense? So, where do they get the energy from? To test this out, we can compare the energy in the sky with histories below. In our book, The Whisper That Won't Go Away, we make an analogy with the energy process, with the game of baseball, where the idea gives general characteristics, such as the entire field is shaped like a diamond and divided into 2 parts, the inner and outer fields. The inner field has 4 bases. That includes the home base. Then there's the rules of action and method. Similarly, the signs of the zodiac are the idea that give general characteristics of each sign. Like, we could ask ourselves, what is the nature of a scorpion or a lion? If we could answer that, we'd have the identifiers of those signs, while the decans are the rules of action for the signs. In order to utilize the energy of the decans, we align ourselves with them. For example, Heart of the Moon believes the Spanish Empire energized the spirit of Capricorn. Their rise to power happened in the energy of the first decante, which is Corona Australis, or the Southern Crown. Another way to learn more about the rules of action of a sign is by the myth, but not always. Here we can, though. The myth that coincides with Capricorn is about Prickis, the sea goat. He wanted his children to explore self-discovery, but in order to do so, they had to transform into mountain goats. But Prickis always desired for his children to return to their sea goat identities. Furthermore, since Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, he shapes the destiny of the sign. Then, let's see how the myth, along with its ruler, matches up with the star map of the constellation. In the northern hemisphere, it's easier to find Corona Australis in dark skies, like during the new moon, because take a look, it's just above the horizon, which is prone to light pollution. If you can't recognize the constellation at first, look for an easier one nearby it. Here's what to look for. Look for the teapot pattern of stars, or asterism of Sagittarius. Corona Australis is just below it. For me, when I find the curve, the entire constellation comes into view. It also reminds me of an ancient fire pit. First, take in the symbolism. Consider the location of the sickle. The light of the Milky Way galaxy could symbolize knowledge or our brilliant, perfect selves. Now notice, the direction moves into darkness. It's as if the goats are moving away from their perfect sea goat identities. Yes, but then they follow the arc of the sickle back towards the light. Consequently, the energy is an artificial mountain or spike. In other words, to play in this energy field, the rules make it obvious. A rise, but then a fall. How does that match up with the rise of the Spanish Empire? We think it's an energy match. Maybe you've heard something like, make a wish upon the first star I see tonight. For me, many times, the first star I see, Vega. In the northern hemisphere, it's directly above us during summer. If you still can't find it, look for the Northern Cross asterism of Cygnus, the swan. Notice the star Altair, then spot Vega. Maybe also make a wish upon a falling star. Because then, in the second decante, Vega, the fallen star, sets down on the landing strip in the constellation of Lyra, the harp. Back to a reset. When did the Spanish Empire have their fall? In the middle of their season? We think when Spain intended to invade England, but then turned into a disaster for the Spanish Armada, a good deal from a violent storm. It's worth mentioning the decantes are ruled by a sub-ruler, which do not usurp the rulership of the sign. Rather, the sub-ruler contributes his or her spirit to the energy playground of the decante. For example, the sub-ruler of Lyra the harp is Venus. As it turns out, she lends her nurturing love to smooth over the rough edges. When the goats process internal energies during the second decante of Capricorn, and it's believed by historians that Spain came out stronger after a brief timeout, known as Pax Hispanica, or Spanish Peace, around the end of the 15th century. Moreover, the energy activity matches with our 5 data entries from our previous video of a fall. There's something to this. The goats sign up for a tower moment in the middle of their season. Is that by free will or a force? But Venus also has a restless spirit of desire. Enter the dragon. The third decante of Capricorn, you might have guessed. Well, it's not Bruce Lee, it's Draco the Dragon. Now you should be able to spot Vega, then find Ursa Minor, or the Little Dipper. Next, spot Polaris, the Northern Star. Essentially, Draco fills the entire sky in between both stars. Or Lyra, we often say Lyra, sits in between Cygnus and Draco. One more shot at glory. Around the year 1620, things heated up very fast as a result of religious fervor. The dragon's breath was when Spain and Austria decided to team up to fulfill their desire to control Europe. For what it's worth, that was that. The rest is history. That's one example of the decante energy, the rule of action for the signs. We also think Napoleon and France energized the spirit of Capricorn, the meteoric rise of Napoleon, then his downfall, sent to the island of Elba, then one more shot at glory when he escaped. The Battle of Waterloo soon followed. The rest is history. But we're still not out of the woods yet.